the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.
Imagine being trapped in a dream, a nightmare that repeats itself night after night. But what if that nightmare starts to bleed into your waking life? Let's delve into the chilling narrative of John, a man ensnared by a recurring nightmare that haunts his sleep. Night after night, he finds himself in a never-ending hallway, swallowed by darkness. The eerie silence is broken only by the echo of his own footsteps and the sinister rustling of an unseen entity in pursuit. The terror that grips him in this dream is palpable, the kind that gnaws at your sanity, making your heart pound in your chest like a war drum. There's always the same dark figure, a shadowy tormentor relentlessly chasing him through this labyrinth of terror. It's a faceless entity, shrouded in mystery, its very presence a chilling reminder of the inescapable nightmare. The hallway stretches on, a seemingly infinite corridor of fear. It's like being stuck in a grim painting where the brushstrokes of dread paint a reality that's as terrifying as it is relentless. The fear of the unknown, the dread of the inevitable, and the desperation to escape all blend into a horrifying symphony that orchestrates John's recurring nightmare. The dream is a relentless cycle, an echo of terror that returns with the fall of each night. It's a nightmare that leaves him gasping for breath, waking up in a cold sweat, his heart pounding against his ribcage like a prisoner yearning for freedom. The fear is so raw, so real, it lingers even after he wakes like a ghostly residue of the nightmare that refuses to fade with the dawn. Each morning John wakes up, he finds himself in his own bed, safe, but the line between his dreams and reality is about to blur. As we delve deeper into John's story, we'll uncover the chilling truth of his recurring nightmare and the horrifying reality it's about to unleash. Stay tuned, for the nightmare is just beginning. John starts noticing strange occurrences in his waking life, occurrences that eerily resemble events from his nightmare. The day starts off as any other. The sun is shining, the coffee is hot, but as John steps into his office building, a chill runs down his spine. The hallway, usually bustling with activity, holds an uncanny resemblance to the one from his recurring nightmare. The same long stretch of corridor, the same eerie silence, the same feeling of dread. He shakes it off, blaming it on lack of sleep. But as the day progresses, the similarities grow more pronounced. The whispering of his colleagues morphs into the soft, unintelligible murmurs from his dream. His eyes dart to the corner of his vision, half expecting to see the dark figure from his nightmare, the figure that stands in the shadows, always watching, always waiting. He blinks and it's gone, but the uncomfortable feeling of being watched remains. His lunch, usually a time for relaxation, is filled with an unshakable sense of dread. As he bites into his sandwich, he can't help but feel like he's tasted it before. The same taste, the same texture, as if he's reliving a moment from his nightmare. He pushes the plate away, his appetite lost. As the day draws to a close, the office empties out, leaving John alone. The ticking of the clock grows louder, echoing the ominous ticking from his dream. The shadows grow longer, the silence more oppressive. He can't shake off the feeling that something is about to happen, something terrible. John's heart beats faster, his palms grow sweaty. He's lived through this moment before in the safety of his dream, but this isn't a dream, this is reality. Or is it? The boundary between his nightmare and reality blurs as the line between the two worlds fades. His nightmare is no longer confined to the realm of sleep. It's here, in the waking world, creeping into every corner of his life. John is no longer sure if he's awake or asleep. The boundary between his nightmare and reality has vanished. As John's fear grows, he decides to confront his nightmare. The terror of the unknown, the chilling dread of what lurks in the shadows of his subconscious has driven him to this point. It's a brave step, one that requires a resolve as firm as steel and a courage that is just as formidable. In his pursuit of understanding, John reaches out to a professional, a psychiatrist. She's a woman of wisdom and experience, with a keen understanding of the human mind and its intricate labyrinth. As she listens to John's tale, her brows furrow with concern, her eyes reflect an understanding that seems to go beyond the ordinary. A time loop, she suggests, could be the culprit. It's a concept that's as fascinating as it is terrifying. Could it be that John's recurring nightmare isn't merely a figment of his imagination, but a temporal anomaly he's trapped within? A chilling thought indeed. The psychiatrist advises John to find a way to break this cycle in his dream. It's a task easier said than done. After all, how do you fight something that blurs the line between reality and illusion? But John has no choice. He must delve into the deepest, darkest corners of his subconscious, confront the specter that haunts his dreams. So he embarks on a journey of self-discovery and determination. He readies himself for the battle ahead, steeling his nerves, fortifying his resolve. He knows that the figure in his dream, this embodiment of his fear, is no ordinary foe. It's a dark mirror, a reflection of his deepest anxieties and insecurities. He prepares himself mentally and emotionally for the ordeal that lies ahead. It's a daunting task, one that would make even the bravest shudder. But John is resolute. He knows what he must do. He must face his fear, confront the dark figure that haunts his dreams, and break free from this terrifying time loop. Tonight, John will face his fear. He will confront the dark figure. Will he succeed? That, dear listeners, is a question that only time can answer. But one thing is certain. John's journey into the abyss of his nightmares has only just begun. The night falls and John prepares himself for the battle that awaits him in his dreams. His heart pounds like a war drum, echoing the rhythm of his mounting fear and anticipation. As he closes his eyes, the familiar darkness envelops him, drawing him into the chilling abyss of his nightmares. In the depths of his dreamscape, there's no sun, no moon, just an eternal twilight casting long, eerie shadows. And there, in the half-light, stands the dark figure. It's a silhouette, a shadowy entity, an embodiment of the night itself. John steps forward, summoning the courage from every fiber of his being, ready to confront his fears. His voice echoes in the void, a challenge thrown at the feet of the dark figure. But his words hang unanswered, swallowed by the silence. The dark figure remains still, an enigma wrapped in the cloak of darkness. It doesn't retaliate, doesn't speak, but slowly lifts its arm and points, its finger directing John's attention behind him. John feels a cold shiver run down his spine, a premonition of the unknown that awaits him. He senses the shift in the air, the drop in temperature, the creeping unease that unfurls in his stomach. The anticipation is a living thing, a creature that feeds on his fear, growing stronger with every passing second. He turns around, steeling himself for the unknown. But what he sees, it's not what he expects. It's not another monster or a horde of nightmarish creatures. It's not the dark figure's reinforcements or a trap designed to ensnare him. No, it's something much worse, something that shakes him to his core, something that makes his fear seem like a child's plaything. John turns around and he's met with a shocking sight. Behind him is another John, a mirror image staring back at him with a chilling smile. A moment of sheer terror engulfs him as he stands frozen, his blood running cold. His heart pounding in his chest like a wild drum, echoing the haunting rhythm of his worst nightmare. His own face, a familiar stranger, grinning back at him with an icy, predatory gleam in his eyes. The realization hits him like a jolt of electricity. He's been running from himself all this while. His mind spins, caught in the whirlwind of this horrifying truth. The other John, it's not some phantom or a ghoul from the netherworld. No, it's a manifestation of his own fear, his anxiety, his inner demons he's been trying to outrun. This isn't just a nightmare, this is a confrontation with the darkest corners of his own psyche, a stark mirror reflecting his deepest fears. His breath catches in his throat as the other John takes a step forward. The air grows colder, the silence louder. He can see it in his doppelganger's eyes, the same fear, the same desperation. The other John is him and he is the other John. They are one and the same, bound by the chains of this unending nightmare. But before he can react, before he can so much as breathe, the other John lunges at him, a blur of motion, a gust of chilling wind, and then nothing. The world around him dissolves into darkness, the eerie silence swallowing his scream. As the other John lunges, the scene goes black. Did John manage to break the loop, or is he destined to live this nightmare forever? His fate hangs in the balance, teetering on the edge of this terrifying precipice. The answers lie in the shadows of his dreams, waiting to be discovered, waiting to either free him or chain him to this never-ending cycle of fear. The answers, like this story, are shrouded in mystery, leaving us in the grip of this chilling cliffhanger.
Hit the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.